From where do you want to live this month of March 2026? From a place structured and with internal order, structured and with external order, full of creativity, expression, correct decisions, or on the contrary, perhaps from mental rigidity, perfectionism, perhaps excess responsibility, self-demand, excess control. From where do you want to enter these new opportunities that the month of March brings us? Stay in this podcast and I will tell you the advice that the beings of light bring us to position ourselves where we need it. Hello, how are you? I'm Marce Carbonell. As you well know, every month I bring you this podcast where I tell you about the energies that will be accompanying us so much from Mother Earth. As from the stars, as the organic movements themselves that happen within the human being, and in this mixture, here in the midst of all these things, of so many things, so varied we are, and energies, proposals, scenarios happening which we are developing. In this month of March, we continue with that trend that February has already begun to mark. Maybe you remember we were talking about these new projects that could be put on the table, right? Of that creativity, that expression, those internal and external revelations that were going to be preparing the ground for us in February for the arrival of this month of March. The month of March has a clear energy and it brings us organizational structure. Internal. Actually, what happens is that when we organize ourselves from the inside, you know what happens, right? What is inside is outside, or how it is inside is outside. So, of course, if what is external to us is not actually a mirror of what we are experiencing inside this structure, and this internal order that is taking shape in the external also manifests then. Of course, it's very interesting because these two energies are mixed together. The energy of structure along with the energy of rebirth, along with the energy of new beginnings, an energy that has to come sponsored by that creativity that we all have inside us. So, as you can see, the month of March is a month that can be really pleasant. It is true that at the beginning of March, that strong energy from these revelations of this great awakening of memories can still reach us. Do you remember perhaps that we were talking about it in the month of February? That is still an energy that will accompany us, especially at the beginning of March. These revelations, these great awakenings can leave us a little out of place at times, but in general the month of March seems to be a month that comes with quite warmth and quite a bit of love, quite a bit of peace, which is not too bad, that we have been gone for a few months, how messed up we have been. So it seems that the month of March has no intention of messing up our hair, but precisely the opposite of giving us balance, order, stability. So, come on, let's go for it. I'm going to tell you the highlights of the month of March, organized as the month of March asks of us, because as I told you, the entry is coming, right? Structure and internal order, obviously structure and external order, but it also brings us clear limits. This is interesting because on many occasions it is difficult for us to put limits on various situations. We ourselves sometimes find it difficult to set limits because there are various circumstances that may lead us to be dilating a scenario that should not be manifesting itself in that way. Clear boundaries. Why? Because by having structure, as you can deduce the clear limits, it seems that they also arrive, obviously, right? And with this clarity that comes to us, with this awakening that comes to us, these clear limits also come to us. Thus we have structure, we also have limits that quite obviously arise in decision making and in the conversations we are having. Then another thing that also comes along with all this is right decisions, assertive decisions. Why? Because when we have order, when we have a more transparent view of our internal organization, decisions are consistent with that, so assertive decisions. It is truly something that accompanies us during the month of March, also getting those ideas down to earth. In the month of February, the beings of light told us, if you feel that it is coherent in you, start a new project, or perhaps even restructure yours if you have personal, work, family projects, etc., 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 health projects, right? Things that accompany us throughout life, proposals that we make on the table so that they accompany our lives, because we know that they are important. In the month of February, these things began to happen. Maybe these new projects came in a slightly more disorganized, more chaotic way, or maybe they weren't chaotic or messy. It is simply that we had not yet finished materializing them. We had not taken them ashore on many occasions. Concepts, projects begin as in an ethereal place, not in a place that is like in a cloud. And then over time, and to the extent that we integrate it, reflect on it, we give it body and space. We put it down there. The month of March is an excellent time for just that, to bring those ideas down to earth, ideas from the month of February or ideas from recent years. There is a good time, thanks to this organization, that seems to be born from a more coherent, healthier, even more place. Balanced with who we are? No, because order doesn't have to mean the same thing to everyone. Of course, then, all this has to be accompanied by this tool, that is, life seems to give us order, but we have to react to this call with more order, because in reality, not with creativity, but with expression, it tells us the month of March. The month of March gives us order, and in return, asks us to relax. Let us let go, because in the end, when we express ourselves from a place of the heart, or when, we are in a creative dialogue or in a creative action, in reality, we are also relaxed. And this order really helps us feel relaxed. And the month of March brings us this scenario in quotes, ideal. I say in quotes, because the ideal world only happens in the mind. The ideal world is what happens outside, right? The tangible. But in any case, what I did want to tell you is that it asks for creativity. So give him games, give him expression, give him relaxation, because the month of March will thank you for it, even with more structure and internal order that translates into peace. But we already know that the month of March, every month, all the energies that accompany us from Mother Earth, that manifests itself from the stars, from the moon to the sun, the solar system, to more distant constellations, they have their double eyes. So, what are the weak points of the month of March that happens? If the month of March I do not have it channeled from a place of balance, if there is any resistance in me, some situation that I have not resolved, if there is something that I really must heal well, the month of March is going to explain it to me. How are you going to explain it to me? Because I'm going to be experiencing mental rigidity. I will be experiencing excess control. I will not be relaxing, even though life wants to bring me internal order. I will be there in the rigidity in this. It's like this because it should be like this, not without giving it the opportunity. Maybe to a broader view, to ask you, maybe another way of looking at it might just be viable. So the month of March is going to show me this with these sensations that they are going to be experiencing inside. And therefore it is perfectionism that blocks me, as we said, excesses of control, responsibility, self-demand, entrenched expression, wanting to express, create, speak, converse, dialogue with people, with situations, with scenarios, and that it is entrenched, that it costs me, that it scratches me, that it is very difficult for me. When the month of March manifests itself like this, in my heart, in my emotions, in my body, I will know that there is something there that is not placed in order. The voice of the soul is not being heard, and obviously requires a careful look, a conscious look. And we've been working over these months. What does a conscious look mean? Sometimes it means silence. Sometimes it means internal dialogue. Sometimes it can simply mean putting ourselves in the hands of a good professional and having them accompany us emotionally, energetically, whatever it has to be. Not everything is fine, but you should know that the month of March is a month that an overall result should bring you peace and confidence. What if there is a scenario in which he doesn't do it because it can bring you peace and confidence? Well, in work, in family, but perhaps in love, right? Well, you know there's something you need there to be looked at. From awareness and unconditional acceptance, each one knows the path they have traveled. No one is here judging anyone. It would just be missing. We all have to get messed up from time to time due to decisions that may not have been aligned well at one time or another. No one gets away, but at the same time we have the responsibility. No one is to blame. That's why we have the responsibility to redirect it and bring it to the heart or the voice of the soul, or whatever you want to call it, to the coherence of what it means to be you. Alright, so we have strengths and we have weaknesses. Since the month of March manifests itself with this energy that wants to bring us confidence. And see, if there were 3 slogans for the month of March beyond what I have told you about strengths and weaknesses, they would be the following 3. Look at the first one, and it's powerful, huh? The month of March wants to tell you no, everything depends on you. The people we are always leading, no, in my case I lead the light and consciousness team, or I lead the family, not this large beautiful family. Hey, how nice this reflection is. I don't know how you experience it, but when the Archangel Michael sent it to me this morning, he said, oh yes, thank you, from time to time it's very good for me to be reminded. Not everything depends on you for good and for bad. Not everything depends on you. Okay, this is the first slogan I made you in March. How do you live it? You can already begin to feel how something happens inside you. This either gives you a limit, of course it gives you peace, it gives you a structure and an order, or on the other hand it gives you a rigidity, an excess of control, whatever is happening. Perfect. Investigate it, feel it, discover the second slogan that brings us, not the second great truth that the month of March brings us. Life conspires in your favor. Life conspires in your favor constantly. There will be densified energies. There will be karmic themes and issues. There will be scenarios that are not illuminated. It is true. But life, what is bigger than life? What's bigger than the universe? What's bigger than the planet you live on? All life conspires in your favor. The other is details, nuances, situations that can be resolved some more quickly, others may take years. The path to internal care. Sometimes it can take years, but it's okay. The force of life conspires for you to get it. It constantly conspires to bring you solutions, proposals, tools, people, places, whatever. So that you have a successful development in finding yourself, in finding health, balance, peace. Your internal voice constantly conspires. The month of March wants to explain it to you between the lines, in all the situations that are going to be happening to you internally and externally throughout the month. Life conspires in your favor. How nice. Don't you think peace? How much love can be felt in this statement? Entire life, consciousness, loves you enough to be generating tricks so that you can find that lighter, more successful, healthier path to your personal success. And the last one, because there are not only 2, but there are 3, as I tell you. There is a whole invisible network that unites everything that is found, mainly by frequencies. There is an invisible network that connects everything, then by frequencies it is usually closer and there is more direct exchange. This invisible network is unconditional, takes care of and binds all things together. And seek in that union the global elevation. With that, I want to tell you, this last phrase is actually including the other 2. Not everything depends on you, and life conspires in your favor. And you must understand that this whole network takes you, lifts you to the place that vibrationally. Vibrate like your soul, like your voice, like your life mission. Yes, and that these invisible networks of these etheric energies are constantly pushing you towards that place, towards those people, towards those circumstances that vibrate where you belong. Yes, the second is a little different, but at the same time it encompasses it. You see that life conspires in your favor. It is for you to find balance, health and peace. And this is, in addition, it generates an environment, life, thanks to these threads. If you let yourself be carried away by these energies, if you learn to read them from a place of coherence, of attention, no, because letting yourself be carried away is not anarchy. Letting yourself flow really is observing and understanding when there are things that are born from a healthy and balanced place, and when they are born from haste or from control, or from the need for consumption, no or. In short, when they are born from a place of emptiness, or they are born from a place of fullness. In that reading, we find a flow that will make these invisible networks that unite me to the place that belongs to me. Talk to the people who belong to me, and in the circumstances that belong to me, let them act as if they were elastic. Let them contract you there, not compress you towards that place. The month of March wants to remind you of all of that, and it will do so from a place of order and structure, from a place of creativity and assertive decisions. I feel like with a few months that I have had to share more complex messages, this month of March inside doing the conga, hey, I don't know how you will experience it, but I live it happily, you very well. So, what are the advice of the beings of light? I will be brief because they are actually the same ones who advised us in February, and if you want you can go check this month. No, but they told us about removing iron and simplifying. I don't know if you remember, but they precisely told us not to force. In this case, the energy came strong. It's true that at the beginning of March it's also a little strong, isn't it? With those memory awakenings, with these revelations that will still be impacting us the same in the first week of March. But at the outset, it simplifies. Make it easy. Try to read these energies from a place of coherence and fullness, and you will see how life wants to solve things for you in an easier way. Which we may have had on other occasions, On other occasions we have had to chop stone, and now it seems that we have to surf the wave more, right? And then they told us about the second tip, creativity at full capacity. In the same way, this month they repeat it to us. Creativity is a tool that helps us relax and be in that place, as in that meditative place of connection, of the present, and precisely helps us to flow. Creativity is very interesting, right? Well, be creativity. Yours culinary? Well, I don't know, really artistically, obviously, but also in the simplest things in life. You can get creative, and you can also be creative. Coming from someone else, I mean, you can go to a museum or a restaurant, or go to a good dance show. Anyway, all these things that they impregnate the environment with creativity, and it spreads and everyone fits on it. Not so it can be creativity for good everywhere. And then too, the third advice was like this one that we said, yours begin new restructuring projects. This is still very valid throughout the month of March, so the advice is a bit the same, but stay with the great teachings, not what the month of March brings us. Not everything depends on you. Life conspires in your favor. There is an invisible network that connects you to the place that touches you. Trust. In the end, all this leads you to trust the month of March. He wants to give you the setting as idyllic as possible so that you can relax and trust. Then I have one last proposal to give you. Thanks to the advice of the beings of light, those 3 tips are still in force. But I make you a proposal, that of working with decrees. Why? Because there are 3 great teachings that are powerful. We want to get into the tune, of course. If that tune is going to bring us things that are so pleasant and so revealing, hey, well, of course we're going to do it. Then I will give you 3 decrees and invite you to work with them, to work with decrees. It's simple. You can read them out loud every day, or you can put them on your altar and light a candle. You can put them stuck with paper in a glass bottle where the water you are drinking throughout the day is, and so on, etc., etc. There are many ways. You can be as creative as you want to precisely work with these decrees. The first decree is linked to the first great teaching. It's not all up to you. It couldn't be a good decree because it has the word no, and we don't like to use no in decrees. So the beings of light turn it into a loose breath and powerful trust it feels. Ah, how the fantastic chest expands. The second great decree is born of life, conspires in your favor. But instead of life conspiring in your favor, they transform it into trust in life and my instinct. Interesting, because I trust in life, but all the power is not outside, also in your instinct to do the reading of what is happening. So trust life and trust your instincts. And finally, thanks to that invisible web that unites everything, the web of life takes me where it belongs. Fantastic. And there we let ourselves be carried away in confidence, in push, in flow, in assertive reading. Well, the month of March is not wasted. What do you think? How do you feel it? How do you vibrate it? Well, it seems that there will always be challenges and movements, obviously, but life is going to accompany us from a very warm place, with peace and with real clarity. So it's our business in this case to be able to be attentive to it, don't you think? Because sometimes life has made it a little more complex for us, but in this case, it makes it easy for us. We are going to take the opportunity to enjoy it, continue growing, continue discovering ourselves, and, well, vibrate in the area of the miracles that we like so much, right? And, well, this is it. This is the month of March that is not expected in these coming weeks. I send you a very big hug and I hope you enjoy it very much. But before finishing, let me tell you about the proposals of light and consciousness for the month of March. I'm sure you already know many of them. One of them is, if you wish, to download the guided meditation so that you yourself can connect with the beings of light. Channeling is something that belongs to all of us. Connecting with the beings of light, with the beings of consciousness, connecting with all this force of life that accompanies us is something that is natural. That all living beings do it, and that the human being, both in the mind and in the mind, there is. We have lost our way, and we have forgotten that this instinct, if we lengthen it a little longer, leads us to channeling. So if you feel like doing a guided meditation, you can start experiencing it later. On the other hand, if you wish, you have a ritualized message every month. So you can complement each month's energies with a more personalized message. So I have a base of hundreds of messages, and there I ritualize it so that you receive the exact and perfect one, so that you can feel that the month of March gives you a little more clues than what it wants to give you. On the other hand, if you feel like it, you also have the course to learn how to channel, where I tell you several ways to channel everything you need to know to do it from a safe, coherent place, successful, etc. And you have all the resources you need to be able to connect with beings of light, with family members. Anyway, in some way feel that life accompanies you with these tireless 247 coaches who are the beings of light. And that's it. I send you a very big hug and everything, all my love, and hoping that you tell me about these experiences that the month of March is bringing you.